Oh, this is my new bike. I sold the Aprilia. Obviously, so I bought a really nice bike that ran and everything. No, I didn't. Let's try and get it to work. Oh, metal tanks are really cold in winter. This wonderful green thing is my new steed. My new iron thing. It looks right, doesn't it? It's been off the road for about 6 years. The smell of the fuel in the tank suggests longer, but the date on the battery suggested 6 years. Hasn't been MOT'd for a similar amount of time. It's a Triumph Trophy 1200. None of your triples here, mate. This is a triple that's grown an extra leg. And even on the dark side here, it's in really nice condition. The paint's lovely. You can tell it's been like hand polished a billion times because it's quite scratched. But it's never been dropped. It's got this funny, I don't know why, these remind me of a boat. Probably because the whole thing reminds me a bit of a boat. It's massive, isn't it? But this is how it came. Now, it's got a couple of issues, but we'll gloss over those and we'll just sort of drink it all in first. It's got 31,000 miles. Look at the condition of it. I mean, I will always stand by the fact that Aprilia was a lot better made than everyone says they are, because every single fixing on it was good. But this thing's immaculate. Full luggage. Look, it even came with one of these funny, I think these are like, apparently this is a bit like Google Maps, but it's quite old because you can't like pinch and zoom. And I've asked it several times to take me somewhere and it just doesn't even move. Do you think that was the last owner's? You either live around there or maybe that was his last trip in it. Exotic. Shall we see what's in the rest of the boxes? All the boxes have keys. Now this is, I don't know whether this is good or bad. Should we pour it out and see? This is a strange box of goodies. What have we got? That's like a piece of vacuum line. A very cut down 10mm. Ooh, it's German. Can't have that on a British bike. Oh look, there's the rest of it. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll figure out what that was for. This is, looks like another customised tool. Oh look, there's another, what on earth? There's been a massacre of who's just taken up massacring Allen keys? Oh, there's the rest of two more. Those look like hose clamp offs. So you basically do, here's the screw. So if you were trying to squish a pipe, you'd do that. I nearly said chain tools, but it'd have to be like a child's bicycle. Another one! Who's been killing all of these? We've got a piece of rubber. Yes. Okay, I'm sure they're important. Equally strange. A load of small fixings. They look like, has it had new brake lines? They look like things used to block the end of hydraulic lines, maybe? That's a battery bolt. That was the battery, by the way. They had a really nice one in it. As you can see, it was nearly 6 years old. Sadly, it wouldn't take a charge. But then, what is a bit? Did it have them changed? Oh yeah, look, that's an old one. So has it got a full set of old ones in here? Oh, it looked like it was running well. I'm hoping that's 4, yeah. 3, that looks okay as well. And so does that. Honda? BJ, that's, yeah, well that's the reg, so DPR 9009s, yeah. I guess these are new. No, they're old. Oh god. Well, I don't know, that colour looks alright. That is quite black on there though, isn't it? But that sort of level, the fact that that colour's okay and it's a bit black there might be just the fact that it was just switched off and on, cold. Again, sort of chocolatey brown, that could just been on the choke. Well, it actually has a choke, this, so... Okay, so we have 2 sets of plugs. That looks like a very new bag. And a spark plug spanner. Is that the right size? Well, it is, yeah. But okay. Now, is that good or bad omen? I must admit, I'd seen those before, but I didn't know they were used. What else have we got? Ah, look. That's why it's really scratched, because people have been rubbing that with a Brillo pen. Add that to our red thing of swag. What else? Ooh. Ooh, do we have a Scott oiler? And chains. Oh yeah, look. There you go. See that little pipe? A Scott oiler is quite simply there's a guy called Scott, and you pay a monthly fee and he pops around every now and again and oils a chain through that little pipe. Some mats. Might as well add that to the swag pile. That is... Oh! All the yellow things are to do with the Scott oiler, because that's one of the attachments that Scott uses. He was from the south of England, obviously. Let's put those there. Yeah, look, they're more like that yellow. Oh, what's on the dark side? Sorry, the lighting has improved in here, but obviously not quite enough. And we have a sock, no, a glove, a sock, and a balaclava. The previous owner was a murderer. Oh dear, a murderer who liked to kill Allen keys. So there we go. We have a plethora of useless things. What does worry me a little bit, I took the battery out to see if it would charge, by the way. What does worry me just, you know, a wafer thin amount is that is about the time it went off the road, and it has 2 sets of spark plugs. Or the owner was meticulous and he kept everything. Let's go with that, shall we? Okay. Still, luggage is nice, isn't it? It's not the biggest, I mean, especially the top box isn't the biggest thing in the world. What I do find funny about this, and again, the whole thing of Italian bikes being quite behind, is that this is 2 years older than the Aprilia, and we have a choke, and a reserve tap on the tank. Well, it's like 1974 on this bike. It also has carburettors. Vomit inducing. Give us some. Smells like a lawnmower. Fucking. It doesn't smell like 5 years. I know like modern fuel's crap and everything, but let's get a light and have a little look in there. We won't use the endoscope, as you saw in the last video. It was shite, wasn't it? Is there any fuel? Oh, there is some fuel in it. The tank, though, is... I don't know if you can see. It's got some crap in it. Oh, I think that's the pickups on that side. There's a little bit of crap in the sort of saddles of it, so the inside goes up and over like that, I guess. But I mean, it smells dreadful. Let's see. I'm not going to look if these work. Oh, is it meant to come off? Oh yeah, it's not hinged. Aww. It's got a right angle adapter to put air in the tyres. And oh look. Now that fills me with hope that the owner was an absolute legend. Got a load of cable ties and some fixings. I'll put that in our... I know, we'll leave that out of the pile of swag, shall we? Which way around did that go? Do, do, do. Ah, it's got a fuse box in that one, and yeah, that. Oh, is that for the trip? Who knows? It's also got a little like, don't know. I have read the manual, I just don't remember it. Right, let's get the seat off. See what wonders await in there. Ah, I've shed my hat. It's not as cold as I thought it was. Is that? That's the wrong key. I'm gonna have to label these. I hope they'd all be sweeted the same, but I have 2 keys. I lied. Oh. You've been open before! Oh god, that's very stiff. Best lubricant in the world. I don't know if it's the key barrel that's stiff or the mechanism. No, it was the mechanism. Ah. There we go. Things and stuff. Well, you're a load of shit, aren't you? Well, I don't know, maybe we should test the theory. Maybe it will run on it, who knows? The Spitfire motoring range. Someone brought that from the Classic Car Show. Spitfire motoring products, just dedicated to keeping your classic cars and motorcycles on the road. The old milking shed. That fills you with... Do you still exist? What else have we got? Yes, there's that. That probably wasn't covered in tape from factory. No laughing about British stuff. Yeah, so that's our Scott oiler. Oh, that's the fill one. That's for filling. And I think that is a vacuum connection. And it runs on vacuum, so it's not the electric one, which is good. It just involves less. There's less faff. I don't know. I mean, yes, I did take the battery off, but I don't remember. What were you for? I mean, the heated grips are standard. The Scott oiler doesn't have, and they're way too thick with the Scott. So I'm gonna say they're the heated grips, because the heated grips are on a Carling switch there, and they're standard, but they were probably added. Maybe at the dealer. Don't know. Should we see if they still exist? Spitfire fuel consumption. Oh, they still exist. Oh no. There's some stupid thing in the tank then. Oh, God. So what's sitting in the tank? This will allow any engine designed to run on leaded petrol to run safely on... What a load of shit. Straight in the bin. So that's something we're going to have to be fishing out of the tank, isn't it? Great. There's some more like aftermarket wiring, I think. Well, I can't be aftermarket. There's some clips. There's no. I haven't got a boot in this one. How on earth do you check the rear brake fluid? It's okay. Look, it says okay. So that's for something. Now, before we put the new battery on, there is something I want to take a look at. Because, whilst it isn't a known fault on these, it seems to be one of the reasons it might have been so cheap. Okay. Welcome to the lower part of the motorcycle. Now, one of the reasons they said they couldn't get it started, and one of the things that was a fact, was they couldn't get the thing to go into neutral. Now, pushing it back and forth, it feels like the clutch works, because I can feel it sort of in gear, out of gear, but it is hard to get into neutral. But I did notice this. If you push down, normally, we're hitting the bolt for the side stand. As you see, full travel is past it. Then it gets stuck on that bolt. That seems like way too much play. So I want to get it off and see what the bearing looks like in there. Or I'm guessing it's got a bush rather than a bearing. I would get a bike lift. But there's a TVR above your head, and that's why I don't have one. So how does this come off? It looks like there's an Allen key in there, but we're going to want to get this off first. That's got looks like just an R clip or C clip of some kind. I think there's an Allen key in there. We went to the motorcycle show at the NEC the other day, and I think Triumph still use these pegs. And something look very similar anyway. the other thing I've noted is the adjuster's loose. So whether they were trying to see if they could get it off or not, or maybe it was just a case of adjustment. I bought it from some lovely guys in Corby, someone that makes trouser presses anyway, and I mean they just get through loads of bikes. They don't really look at them for that long, but they're very honest. They didn't even need to tell me it didn't go to neutral because it didn't start. It's definitely not right, is it? Oh, we could just take the side stand off. That'll do it, wouldn't it? Who needs a side stand? At this point, much faffing ensued whilst I tried to figure out how to get the damn thing off. But turns out it's quite straightforward. There's an Allen head bolt behind. I think it's an 8mm. It's just the fact that it's completely invisible to the naked eye, but you can actually wedge a very long extension bar through the entire bike, and then you can undo that bolt and get the whole selector thingy off. So let's find a new bush. Right, that was quite easy in the end. There's just a big Allen bolt on the back of it, and we have a brass bush. So there we go. And then we have just a steel shaft. So that goes in there. And that's our place. So we need a new piece of brass to make a bush out of, to go back on that. Oh, if only we knew someone with a lathe. Oh wait, that's me. Cool. So I'm going to measure that. I wonder if it came with any bits of brass big enough. So we're going to measure basically the outside of that. We'll have to drift that one out, then measure the inside of that, and then probably buy the closest we can. Yeah, or see what we got. I'll check back in with you in a minute. And this is our new bush in there, and then that's in there. No, it feels like it's a better fit. If I hold that tight, there's a very small amount of play, but it turns easily. Let's try that. Let's see if it'll get neutral. Now that was a pain in the butt. We're on, and we're successful. Look at that. We're not quite nipped up. I'll show you why. Because to do it up, you can just about get the socket wrench in from the other side. That's the best way to do it. So we'll nip that up, then I'm going to chuck the battery on and see if we can get neutral. Then we'll know whether it's a gearbox issue or not. That's our new battery from Tainer. Best place. That's not very good, was it? I only buy batteries from Tainer, even though I get Halford's discount, because their service is second to none. They sell an entire range of batteries rather than just that Yuasa crap. I haven't tried this brand before. It's called Full Bat, but apparently they get very good reviews anyway. Is that right? I've got the right key. I need a thing. What's it? Yeah, let's. Uh-oh. Don't think my fob works. If I do that with God's sake. There's always something, isn't there? So I'll change the battery in the fob. Now it's alive. So let's try that again. Now, you probably can't hear that, but there sounds like there's a relay clicking when I'm pressing the fob. That would suggest the fob is actually doing something, but I can't deimmobilise it. We may have to consult with the manual. Bollocks! So I think it's underneath the tank. I've taken out 6 bolts just there. Ooh, that seems like... Now don't worry, dear viewers, I'm not going to subject you to my long and arduous task of finding this damn immobiliser siren data tool thing. The manual suggested it was under the tank or in front of the battery, but it turns out it was behind the fairing, which makes sense because there's lots of room there. Now, whilst the data tool is an original Triumph one, it wasn't a factory fitted thing, it was a dealer fitted thing, so that's why its position sort of moved variably around the bikes wherever the dealer felt it was best placed. Now let's find it and finally destroy the beeping little bastard. I think all the plugs are under there, but also that fairing's been off because the indicator was unplugged. So I'm going to pause that bit there, then I think we're going to pop the tank off actually because I'm going to service it anyway. Then I don't know, maybe take that fairing off because I think the plastic infills, right, I think those plastic infills might hide what we're looking for, but let's start here. There's no point in leaving it on. The little straps that came with it we can use. To squish off what I think why? They shouldn't have any fuel in them, should they? It's just like being a vet. I can feel the calf's head. There we go. And that'll come off with it. I think that's it. that is it. Oh look, stuff and things. I'll look at a diagram because that, if that's a fuel pipe, then my name's Jessica. There's also what looks like a vacuum pipe that went to the back of that, and that's torn, so that's good. So we're finding all sorts of things to replace. So that's our actual frame. Look at that, how cool's that? Coils there. And this is a really original bike, because I'm going to guess that rubber seal, it's obviously there to stop all the weather coming this way, and that's still there. Let's hazard a guess that that's usually not still there. We've also got some sealing rubbers around the front of the engine, so it's obviously stopped the weather sort of coming back hither. But one thing confirmed, this is not where the security system is. I can see some relays up there and some more multi-plugs. There's our heated grip switch. I'm guessing there. Lugs to mount the fuel tank. Good nick though, isn't it? Looks like a good nick. What's this? Dunno, oil? On a British bike? Surely not. So it's very neat, I must say. Yeah, so I was just saying, you can see, I don't know if you can actually see all the oil kind of down there. But you can see white grease on the carb boot, so I thought the carbs had been off, but looking at how dirty the linkage is, unless maybe they've just been off to clean it. Yeah, but really neat. I'm quite impressed with like the airbox. Now look how that kind of winds its way around frame, battery tray, how leaky the Scott oiler is. But yeah, that's the fuel line I'm not very impressed with. Is it mean making the TBR hold the light? Don't worry, darling, we'll be with you very soon, okay? Right, oh, I see, there's some capped off vacuum ports, so they must use one of the capped off ports for the Scott oiler. So yeah, these are the, I mean that might have been fuel line a very long time ago, but that's perished to all hell. But I don't think that's fuel line either, that's too soft. That's our vacuum line, so yeah, might need to be replaced. Right, strip down continues. And it's also very, you can tell it's British straight away, because you've got Allen heads, Torx in several sizes, just take one piece of bodywork off. Why do we do that to ourselves? Since we've got what we've got, I have just unplugged that relay because that felt very loose, but I don't think Triumph would have cable tied a relay there. So I'm going to test that relay because that's also a 5-pin that's had one pin cut off. So that's been changed at some point. I'm going to clean up those connectors and then we'll move on to the other side. So this is a relay. And they're a relay good way of switching a large current with a small current. So you can see pins 85 and 86. They pull in a coil which basically switches together 1387, and then whoop, you have 30, 87, 86 and 85. Weirdly, this one looks like it used to have an 87A, which would have been a auxiliary contact, so like that would be normally open and normally closed. But it's not actually written on there. So this is obviously a very high quality relay. And the way to test this is very, very simple. So, get our buzz box. And we go across pins 1387, and we should have nothing. Das ist gut, ja. We then connect and plug in. How organised. And this is why the C-Tech chargers are awesome, because they have a supply function. And we heard that tick. And we now have continuity. And that should be basically a dead short across there. So do you hear that relay ticking? One thing I'm interested in, does it actually have does it have an 87A contact? No, it doesn't. '87A would be normally open, so basically you'd have a 87A would have continuity. Actually, it might be the other way around. It would have continuity to one of these two pins with the relay not powered, so normally open. But it doesn't, it just has it obviously in the casting. There we go, so that's working. The only thing that isn't very good about it though is how dirty, like all of the connections are filthy. So we're going to clean that up. I'm going to look at the wiring diagram, see if I can tell what this was doing as well. Then it can go back on. It's weird, isn't it? The bike is so clean, but every single electrical connection is really shitty, like it's been kept in a... I don't know, like it's been kept in a damp garage a lot. And never allowed to warm up and sort of dry everything out, so you get that condensation on it, like on here, and on the camera lens. But, right, I'm going to clean some electrical terminals with just a bit of that. I'm going to get that in the cut on my finger to make me squeal like a little girl, so you don't want to watch that. This is going to open a whole kettle of fish. These connectors are all coated in dielectric grease. Now, dielectric grease is meant to be used on electrical connectors to prevent corrosion and keep good contacts. It conducts electricity. From what I'm aware of, you shouldn't use it on sensor cabling, because 5 volt, obviously, electricity is a constant. It's Ohm's law. It's V equals I times R. So if you change the resistance, you change voltage and everything. When you're working with 5 volt sensors, putting on a load of goppy grease in there doesn't help anything, in my opinion, even though that's what apparently it's for. But the problem with those is it's also attracted a load of dirt. So the white one here I cleaned was full of rubbish, and then this one's filthy as well, as you can see. So I mean, it has kept the connections corrosion free, but either way we'll clean it off because I don't like it. Sorry about that. The battery died. But we found it. There it is. Now, before I get into this and taking this thing out, people always go mental on the internet when they see this happen. They're going, "You're teaching people how to steal my bike." Right, it's 25 years old. Someone is not going to take all the fairings, not someone that doesn't already know what they're doing, is not going to take all the fairings off, dig this thing out and replace it, or remove it. So this is more for people who have got stuck because theirs has died, like me. But this is it. That is a Data Tool Vito Evo or something. And this is how it leaches itself into your wiring. I'll probably replace this with a new one at some point, or a hidden something or other, but there we are. Now, it's got a long loom off it. This is the Triumph approved one, obviously, I'm guessing, because it has Triumph on the fob. Those two cables just go into your starter circuit. So, pull those out, put it straight back into the starter solenoid. I'll show you this in a second. These, I'm guessing, were unused. They were just kind of sitting there. I don't know. Maybe they bypassed it and I wouldn't have to do all this. Don't know, it's not in the mount, I can see it. Then we had these. Now, that was unused and that was unused. I don't know what they would have been for. And then we have two grounds that went into the bike, and then we have the main connector, and that's the one we're going to have to loop some stuff out on the bike. But that is the box of tricks that after 20 years, 25 years, 26 years in a little while, has died, it seems. So, to the bike, what we might have to do is lop this loom apart and then use this to obviously put the links in, because that is obviously the correct side of the plug and this is trash. So the start inhibit was very basic. That connector here, this one, that's standard on all things, red with a white tracer is your starting circuit. There's our starter solenoid down there, and that now just plugs straight onto that, I believe, he says. That long bit from there just runs itself down the chassis, and then on mine, this is where the box of tricks lived. They're just connectors onto the fuse box that was obviously on the panel here. Oh, by the way, to remove this fairing, we had T30, 5mm, 6mm hex, and a 10mm bolt. Really? And it all looks pretty original. Anyway, these then are our plugs for the alarm system. Now, I've gone through the wiring diagram, and this is what I think we should have. So we have 12 cables coming in and out altogether, and I think these are the ones that I have to link. Possibly. We'll see. So this is what I'm going to do, and then when it works, hopefully, I'll come back and I'll show you. Excuse my Egyptian hieroglyphics, that's just my handwriting. Oh, also, look how clean it is. That is. See, look, made in Britain. You know, it's a byword for quality. So even look at those headers. This bike was so well looked after. So the only leak I can still see is that. And that is definitely a new switch. So I reckon that might just be a couple of crush washers. That's also the oil feed to the head, it looks like. So we don't really want that to leak, do we? Yeah, I can't believe how good this thing looks. I've worked out starter side of it, that's fine. So we've reconnected that. The other issue now though, I don't think I have spark, but that's one thing, is I can't find neutral, which I did know was an issue. I did mention it when I bought the bike. So what I'm hoping is it's just a case of bleeding the clutch. You know, old fluid and all that. Annoyingly, when I took the lid off though, it didn't look very dark. Anyone who has a bike knows if you've left it for too long and then it goes all horrible and black with fluid, from the seals, same as in your car. So what we're doing, taking the cap off, and we've got a little bleed line attached to our clutch. Remember, sit that bottom of your pipe in fluid, and you can't. It's hard for it to suck air up. So what we're going to do is slowly go there. Slowly pull the clutch handle in. Release. Close. And we can see the fluid going down. So we know the clutch is working. And then you want to see the fluid go down, because if it doesn't go down, you know your clutch ain't working. And there we go. So the reason it's not turning over normally at the moment is because we're in gear. We can't get it to go into neutral. Oh, there we go. Got it. Haha! Victory. It's another thing if you don't ride bikes that often. Some things are just a pain in the arse to get into neutral. And we have spark. Come on! Are you watching? Shall we just put a little bit of... Where are my volatile aromatics? Remember, some brake cleaners are not... We should probably also put that back on. That's not a starter. It fires. What's particularly annoying is these plugs don't have their little bobbin on top. So so the rubber bit inside spark plug sockets won't grab them. You may remember we found in the pannier 873 spark plugs. So if this one does look brand new, I'm not going to change the lot. Oh! No, that's fine. They're not brand new. That has been running very badly indeed, and it's quite oily down there. But the oil on the thread is just, I'm guessing there's some seals in the cam cover that's leaking. Look at that though. That can just be because it's not been run properly in a while. So it's not really a cause for concern right now. They're not fouled. I mean, obviously we just popped it off on brake clean. Which, it won't soot them up that much, but it's stuff like that is why they get sooted up. 18 Newton meters, by the way. I'm going to figure out which fuel lines are fuel lines, which ones are breathers. and then we'll put some fuel to it and see if it pops off. Right, stay up in the air now. Basically, one line does those two cylinders, one line does these two. Bit of choke. Bit less choke. Well, there's nothing wrong with the engine, is there? Oh, that's good, isn't it? Yes. Come on. Come on. So I've just dropped the idle down slightly on the adjuster, considering people may have been playing, as we know. There's a noise, isn't there? But I don't know what that... Bike's mechanically noisy. The Aprilia certainly was, and that was normal. So... Come on, I'm a real boy. Brakes work. So we still need to maybe reconnect the indicators. Oil. That idle needs setting about right, but that's not a problem. Oil change, and then, well, off to the MOT. So, well, if you've enjoyed this video, then please look at the rest. Look, there's a TVR up there. There's a German bike here that I've had some issues with, but you know, you might see those. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. See you another time.